Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another vintage video. This one is sponsored by Andy B, who gave me a Dealer's Choice Vintage League. Now, I have really been enjoying Nettlecyst in multiple formats, and maybe 2 weeks ago for YouTube folks, I played a Nettlecyst Affinity deck in Vintage, and Nettlecyst seemed really good. But I got eaten alive in the comments, like, why aren't you playing Workshop? Why aren't you playing Shops? Alright, fine. Fine, YouTube. Let's see if we can break Nettlecyst. So what I'm going to try to do today is insert Nettlecyst into the traditional like Aggro Shops, Ravager Shops shell and see if we can make it work. So I took a list from top 16 of one of the vintage challenges, and I pulled out the Jeeps. I pulled out the vehicles and one walking ballista for 4 Nettlecysts. This thing just gets so huge. The equip cost is reasonable for if the token gets answered. I was just super impressed by this card. Now, obviously, it'll be a little bit different in this shell because our other version had like I think thought casts and thought monitors to draw more cards, and then like we would have more artifacts in play. But this version gets the advantage of just being able to like jam some of this stuff out via a workshop. If you're not overly familiar with Vintage, 30-second rundown of what this deck is trying to do. This is a deck built around Mishra's Workshop, which allows you to add 3 mana to your mana pool. And then you power out a whole bunch of aggressive creatures, some of which either make your spells more expensive or pump the rest of your team. We have some other soul lands and powerful lands like Tolarian Academy to help with that package, and we also have Urza Saga to just make some more constructs because, damn, constructs are cool. As far as the sideboard goes, we have Wormcoil Engines for the mirrors and maybe some of the Hate Bear style decks, and otherwise we just have a pile of hateful cards for graveyards, mostly for graveyards. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about this. Like, we're just going to let the game speak for itself, and we're going to see whether or not it's a good idea to actually throw Nettlecyst into these decks. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to support my content. And if you are subscribed, throw me a like. It's the easiest free way to support my content. If you want to try out this list or you want to get your own sweet deck on stream, donation videos and deck lists are always available in the video description. All right, let's battle. Okay, my round 1 opening hand would be a fantastic, absolutely fantastic legacy hand. Because we go Urza Saga and play a 1-drop, and then on turn 2, I make a construct, and on turn 3, I make a construct. Is the turn 3 Black Lotus good enough that I can take this hand that like has no power or anything? My gut says that this is a mulligan, but my curiosity for wanting to know whether or not I'm right or wrong is going to make me keep this hand. Alright, let's see how it plays out. So we'll do the Urza Saga and make my 1/1. And I do think it is fine to just make this 1/1 here. And the reason being that I want to grow the constructs. And because I'm just simply not going to cast this card for the next few turns. Okay. Well, Stonecoil Serpent did 2 points of damage. Good job, Stonecoil Serpent. We take that. Alright, Wasteland. So we're just gonna like run back the same plan. Well, opponent didn't have any Moxen, so whatever. Saga. Your move. Oh, alright. So we're gonna need to Wasteland that in all likelihood rather than make a construct, which is a little unfortunate, but like we made it through that turn without anything bad happening, and that's kind of a huge deal. I'm just going to quickly confirm that I do not have a Tormod's Crypt in my main deck. I do not believe that I do. Okay, I do not. Alright, so we're gonna leave value on the table with this Urza Saga. Which is unfortunate, but I think it is just correct to take that out. And the lowly Stonecoil Serpent for 1 returns. You only get 1 mental misstep, so. Alright, so the way Master of Death works is at the beginning of your upkeep, if it's in your graveyard, you can pay 1 life to return it to your hand. So along with Squee, it just makes for fantastic Bazaar food. My goal is going to be... Fuck, come on! Never mind. Oh, JK. Well, we did it anyway. Alright, land, Lotus. Damn it! Let me do my things. Alright, so I guess we're just playing a Walking Ballista. For one. Neither my opponent or I are able to execute our primary game plans here. We are just like taking turns kicking each other in the shins. Fuck. Alright, well, hopefully I draw a Wasteland. What do they pitch, by the way? They pitched one Master of Death. Alright. Fuck. Alright, I think I'm going down this game. Well, that helps. I cast this. 3 mana, right? No, this is the 2 mana one. Vault, the 3 mana. I do only have 4 mana, which means that I should just Lodestone Golem this turn. Okay, it has resolved. I don't have good attacks right now. My opponent is probably favored here. Like, between Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt, and the 2 4/4s that are in play, I think my opponent is just going to gain the ability to dominate the board. Things can happen, but I don't know. Tails never fails. Ever. Not even once. Okay. Is Lodestone Golem attacking? Oh. I feel like no. Oh, I'm gonna play my Soul Ring. And we'll use that to put in the Chief of the Foundry. But I really just don't want to trade this for one hollow one here. Then my opponent can cast spells again. I think I'm just gonna kind of try to play conservatively here. And this stuff is just disgusting here. Normally you kind of like run out of gas with Bazaar, but my opponent's got a really good engine going. And there it goes again. All right. Now it's just the full-on like tap to Ancestral. Strong. So my opponent can't attack all out. Yeah, they die on the backswing if they do. But I'm theoretically losing, 1.5 points of damage a turn to this stuff. I think my plan is going to be just try to kill my opponent in one Alpha Strike. Like, I think that's how I'm going to navigate this game. I'm not going to attack yet. Like, right now, there's basically 2 cards that I care about in my opponent's deck, and those are the remaining 2 hollow ones. It starts getting a little more interesting if my opponent actually attacks in with some number of hollow ones. Right now, assuming my 2 largest creatures get blocked, I have 2, 4, 6, 7 damage that comes in. Oh, actually, I guess I also have, like, potentially Force of Vigor to worry about. So I haven't seen green from my opponent. Trip Mine. Not actually all that spooky. I'm trying not to tap this Ancient Tomb. I probably start attacking in with Foundry Inspector. I would trade Foundry Inspector for a hollow one. Offensively or defensively. Alright, opponent is not attacking. Alright, Mana Crypt. Good job. Right. End in with this and go from there. Get them. Unsure how my opponent values their hollow ones currently. Are willing to trade. Oh? Yeah, that's bad. That's very bad because I also just like this creature goes down in power. Alright. I'm also gonna have to use the Walking Ballista to finish off that hollow one. So I need to put a +1/+1 counter on this and ping that to kill it. I think this is still worth doing. Don't really have targets here, I don't think. Street Wraith in the deck. Street Wraith is in the deck, that's reasonable. Otherwise, it's like Serum Powder, which is not good. This has been an extremely interactive game. Alright, so my opponent returns all their Duders to hand. And Ancestrals. I will trade away 3 bodies for a hollow one at this point, I think. Oh god. Opponent still has like 31 cards in library too. So we're not just looking at outright decking my opponent. Don't look, YouTube. This is not how you want to be using your shop's creatures. Ow. 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 Yeah. But I have to stabilize and then just make something that's bigger than my opponent's stuff. That hurts. So between the hollow one and the Mana Crypt, this is a lot to ask. Just being honest, I find it unlikely that I am going to live for more than 2 turn cycles. Yep. All right, dead. GG. That was a really fun game. All right. From the sideboard, I have ley lines and rab traps. What's the number on rab trap? Okay, 3 or more. That's great. We'll do these plus pithing needles for bazaar. Does Grafdigger's Cage actually do anything here? I don't know that that actually does anything. I saw about half of my opponent's deck. Based on the half I saw, Grafdigger's Cage isn't doing anything because it doesn't stop the hollow ones. Wouldn't stop the root wallows if my opponent has those. It would stop Vengevines if my opponent has those, but I'm not seeing them. So let's start with boarding these 7 cards and go from there. Some of the derpier aggressive creatures can probably go, like Phyrexian Revoker, for example, is not great. The Spheres and Thorns and stuff have some degree of value, but I think they're a little weaker than usual. And same with some of the like Ballista, Stonecoil Serpent type stuff as well. I didn't see like Bridge from Belows or anything that I would have to just like break with these. Let's try this. On the draw, I think I might even consider a couple of Wormcoil engines just as something to help me survive hollow ones specifically. Yeah, this looks like a fucking vintage hand. Let's go. Alright, looks like my opponent is taking a mulligan. Okay, there are Vengevines. So if I get another game, the Grafdigger's Cages should indeed come in. And there's also Fury. So I think Sphere of Resistance is better here. Despite the fact that it can be slightly awkward if I get wastelanded. I think I'm looking to not play a Stonecoil Serpent for 1 in this turn cycle, by the way. I think that card is going to be larger than that in most circumstances. Alright, there's a Bazaar. I believe rather than wastelanding Bazaar, I am actually going to just play Lodestone Golem. And then make it so that something like a Force of Vigor would actually cost 2 mana. I think that's pretty backbreaking. Wait, its spells cost 1 more. So I can Thorn of Amethyst and then Wasteland that. That gets to a similar point. Nice Madness card. You do not get to pass go or collect $200. Oh, god damn it. God damn it. So, my opponent has... Yeah, each one of those hollow ones theoretically costs 6, and oh my god. Fuck. Fuck. Oh my god. Okay. I have to figure out how the hell I am going to try to win through 2 of those. I think it involves leaving my opponent with the Bazaar, unfortunately. I don't know. I can't do that. Like, because they'll eventually just find out like lands and Force of Vigor and wreck me that way. I'm gonna start with that. And go 3 mana, and I'm going to play the Arcbound Ravager here. The reason why I'm going to do this is specifically because if I draw a land, I can eat my Sphere of Resistance and then deploy Lodestone Golem. Then Lodestone can trade with one of these, and I can work towards having the Arcbound Ravager kill the other one. But like, holy moly, their turn 1 was very good, and I thought mine was unbeatable. Okay. And this is the start of something. Hold on. Do I need to eat my Sphere? I can eat my Sphere and play both Stonecoil Serpent and Steel Overseer. So that'll open up my opponent's force effects, but will make it so that I'm more likely to beat the hollow ones that are on board. Okay. I'm gonna do it. 3 mana. Steel Overseer. Yeah, that is how it works. So now I'll just play one of these for X is 1. And I'll crash in with the Ravager. This has been a really intricate game. Alright, so my game plan now is to block with Stonecoil Serpent and then sack it to Ravager. So we'll do that. Alright, do the sacking. Now Ravager can eat Thorn and then be at the point where it can trade with one of these. But I'm hoping for something better. Oh my god. What a punish for pitching. Or not pitching. Oh, this is not optional. Oh no. Okay, so I have to choose a target, but it is optional. No. Okay, new Ravager technically buys me a turn, but now I think I'm out of outs. I'm gonna go ahead and concede here. What a series of blowouts. Okay, I'm looking at my opening hand for round 2, and I feel like the power level of this one is just like way too close to a legacy power level hand. Like I would be pretty stoked with this in legacy, but not here. We can do better. I was told there were Moxen in this deck, but whatever. Like we have a workshop and a sphere, and then 2 wastelands. This is totally a keep. Let's bin one of the walking ballistas. All right, island pass. Historically, Sphere of Resistance tends to be pretty good against Island. And we're just going to dump this into play. No thoughts about doing anything else here. Ooh, we are getting Force of Will pitching a Hull Breacher. Yeah, that card is not going to do a ton here. I wonder if there was a world where it was just correct to strip mine my opponent. I don't like this Mystical Tutor. Okay, it's Ancestral. And that helps because my opponent has 3 cards in hand currently. Okay, 5. Alright. Oh, so we're probably playing against some sort of PO deck. Alright. We can do some stuff here. I think it starts here. Let's strip mine the island. And then we'll play the thing that makes all our other things cheaper. And try to go ham afterwards. Or not. Force of Will pitching Hull Breacher again. Play a land, I'll wasteland it. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Alright, Mana Vault, sure. Cool. Wasteland. Destroyer is a saga. Then I get 3 mana. So the Nettlecyst would just be a 1/1 if I play it now. Probably a 2/2 next turn if I just like do Coil Serpent. Okay, Coil Serpent is just more damage in the short term, but this can get bigger later. I think I'm just gonna play a lowly 1/1 here and just kind of accept that it's small right now. We don't have the broken like Moxen based start, and our first 2 artifacts just got countered. Okay, we're a little bigger now. So this grows off artifacts and enchantments, hence it grows off this. I have 4 mana to work with. I think I'm just going to make the largest creature that I can, as consistently as possible. Alright, so I've made a 4/4, and now let's get 3 points of damage in with Nettlecyst, which is all in all better value than what I would have gotten if I played Stonecoil Serpent next turn. Or sorry, last turn. Alright, the Urza Saga from the opponent is not bad. Now that opponent has Metalcraft, they actually have blue mana. But I just have my opponent dead in 2 turns. Alright. My Urza Saga ticks up. Not gonna get a construct out of this. I will get bum. I will potentially get like a Black Lotus off it and then being able to cast Walking Ballista for a large-ish number. Cast a Walking Ballista for X equals 3 next turn. Ravager can get involved too. I think this just probably ends up dealing the most damage over 2 turns. Let's send him. There's 8 damage. And then hopefully I can just finish off my opponent next turn. These trample, the Nettlecyst will get chump blocked. I don't know, like opponent could go off with PO, or opponent could like Hercules recall me or something. Bad things can happen. Oh, Time Walk is bad. That's Time Walk plus Urza Saga. Sure. Now they're gonna get damaged by their Mana Vault though. Alright, they go down to 6. Then we'll see what they do off the Urza Saga. It could just be like Lotus. Could also be Key. Okay, it is just a Soul Ring. Alright, spin in the top. That's not immediate PO mana anymore now. Okay, we get the concession. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't really feel like I won by a lot, despite the fact that my opponent did almost nothing. Okay, so a bunch of these PO lists have been playing Vault Key, and that's just gotten me. I think I'm going to play the Pithing Needles because it can also just hit Urza's Saga as well. And then I'm not really sure how I want to board. I don't know that I want any of the rest of this stuff. Like, Wormcoil Engine is bad against the combo side of the deck, even though it's good against the Urza Saga side of the deck. Maybe let's go down a couple of Walking Ballistas. Like, the game-ending laser is cool. Maybe the game-ending laser is good. Maybe I'll go down some Nettlecysts. because those are kind of rough against all. Hurkyl's Recall, that is. Like, it's a little rough to spend 3 mana for something that's not going to have an immediate impact on the game versus a deck where you know your opponent is packing a handful of Hurkyl's Recalls. This hand is fine. So my turn 1 is probably going to look like Mox, Overseer, Strip Mine them. That's fine. It's maybe not the sphere-based hand that I want, but it should be fine. Alright, Saga into Key. Yep. Here we go. Mox. Gonna go ahead and just play the Overseer. Strip Mine, blow that up. Then next turn I have play Urza's Saga, play Foundry Inspector, and then like start tapping Steel Overseer. Once I have 2 Foundry Inspectors in play, I should be able to empty the rest of my hand pretty easily. Oh, Fatal Push. Unexpected. Alright. You. Into Foundry Inspector, which will make my Arcbound Ravager cost 1 less, which is dope. Okay, that has gotten forced, pitching Preordain. But my opponent's pretty resource light, facing down an Urza's Saga now, alongside Foundry Inspector. Oh, that's dope. that probably helps a lot. Alright, opponent has an Urza's Saga now. I have a Black Lotus. I mean, I'll play it. It's fine. If I'm being honest, I'm playing it so that I can use it to activate Urza's Saga and still play Foundry Inspector. Weird. Get him. Alright, so my opponent's Urza Saga triggers the second time. Alright, just an island. I still feel like I'm about to get Hurkyl's recalled. We'll see. If I don't, it's just insane. Alright. Well, play to the world where I don't just get immediately Hurkyl's recalled. Oh. They're just making a construct. Yes, that's fine. Okay. I just want a Soul Ring and Sphere. I'm gonna go for that. Just make it harder for my opponent to cantrip into doing something else that matters. There's a world where I grab Pithing Needle there and try to shut off the Time Walk based lines. Or not Time Walk, Time Vault based lines, but like opponent literally has to have Time Vault in hand right now. And that's a restricted card, so you get 1. Alright, we're seeing a Sensei's Divining Top. Fishing. Alright, draws a card. To Mana Crypt, okay. Into a Mox, okay. None of these things keep you alive. Academy, okay, that's terrifying. 3 mana, nope. 5 mana. Okay, Demo Tutor. So that can get Hurkyl's Recall. 3 mana, Hurkyl's Recall me, yep. Okay. So Mox, Foundry Inspector, Free Soul Ring, Sphere of Resistance. Is Chief of the Foundry better? No, this is 3 power. It'll be the 4th power next turn. This is fine. Okay. Oh, my opponent also has Mana Crypt in play. Yeah, that does make things scary for them. That also means that they probably just don't win with infinite turns. I guess they could, like, PO and return it to hand. Ooh. Yeah, that's scary. Did he have, like, an Ensnaring Bridge? Or what? A Spell Bomb. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm confused. Okay, so they untap the Mana Crypt, and they play the Spell Bomb, and they draw a card with the Spell Bomb, I guess. Okay, they have Fatal Pushed my Critter. So my plan is just kill them with Mana Crypt. Now they can Karn Plus on their own Mana Crypt, so that's not a thing. I believe I am supposed to just Wasteland Tolarian Academy now, though. That card is good. Alright, Mana Crypt. Do your thing. Mana Crypt, you traitor. Alright. Oh, nope. Alright, Karn minuses. Which what is up with this whole spell bomb situation? Like, is this just what you have? I mean, like, okay. I'm just so confused. Okay. Like, destroy your own mana crypt. Make a bajillion D mana, play the chief, and pass the turn. Now there are 2 lethal threats in play. Number 1, mana crypt. Number 2, the chief. Okay, I won this match because my opponent did not destroy their own mana crypt. Alright, round 3 opening hand looks strong. I'm going to be keeping this. Like, this is going to be a multiple sphere hand with just a ton of mana available to me. I think unless my opponent really gets out in front of us on turn 1, I'm pretty likely to win this one. Because if the first sphere gets countered, like, I just have a second one. I remember playing against this opponent. I played against them in a league where I played, like, against Doomsday, then a Storm deck, and then a Doomsday deck. So I think they're one of those 2, excuse me. So I think this opener is going to be good. Alright. Play a Mox. Play a Workshop. We're going to attempt a Sphere. Now, if this resolves, I can't actually play the second Sphere, because, as you can see here, this second Sphere costs 3, but I think that's fine. We'll pass the turn, then I'll play another Sphere, and yeah, the blue cantrip deck is probably going to have a bad time against that. Especially if they just, like, pay 2 mana to cantrip this turn, and then I just get to resolve another Sphere, like, unmolested. Yeah. So, like, this guarantees that my second Sphere resolves, which is sick. Okay, so I should play Pearl while it still just is net neutral on mana. And I'll play this. I guess it's guaranteed to resolve, so I have 3 mana, right? So the Sphere costs 3 mana, which is this. I have 4 mana right now. So I think at 4 mana, I will go ahead and play the Nettlecyst, which is going to make a big, and then I will play the second Sphere effect. That was a powerful turn. So we have a 5/5 that is going to get significantly bigger, and I'll have a Ballista to just, like, laser my opponent and finish things off. That's strong. Oh, my opponent's probably dead. I don't want to math it out. I'm just going to start clicking on cards. But I think my opponent is dead. Alright. Play Ravager. So this is 6 mana. So cast Ravager for X equals 2, which is 4 mana, and then that's 5, 6. Alright. X is currently 2. Done. Alright. So I will go ahead and attack for 7. That attack puts my opponent to 11. Okay, my opponent has just conceded the game here. Alright, I don't remember if they were playing Doomsday or Storm, and this game didn't really give me that indication. Let's do the old MTG top 8, or MTG Goldfish, rather. See if they're known for one archetype or another. We're playing against Dark Porter. Okay, so they have a result from May with Dark Petition Storm, a result with 4-color Underworld Breach, another result with Breach. Okay. So the Archive Traps are probably good. The Grafter's Cages might be fine. Not knowing 100% what my opponent is playing, I don't think I'm going to go, like, to ley lines or anything like that. I think I'll just trim a few of my aggressive elements and call it a day. This is maybe a little slow. Ballista is perhaps not what I need. Although, again, the lasering is cool. Let's submit this and see how it feels. My hand was just pretty nutty that game. Like a Workshop plus a Tolarian Academy plus 2 Mox and double Sphere, and I drew a threat afterwards. Like, that was everything I possibly needed. Unquestionably good. I think I can do better than this, despite the fact that this has a Workshop. So this goes turn 1 Workshop, Foundry Inspector, turn 2 double Ravager, and Wasteland my opponent. But I think I'd rather keep a combo 8 hand. Okay, I'm keeping this. So this is an Urza Saga hand, essentially. Can I throw back the Lotus? Does that make sense? Like, just go Mox Jet, Soul Ring, Urza Saga, Revoker on 1. Yeah, like, I don't think I need to be this explosive. Like, God, it's so weird to just throw back Lotus, but it kind of feels correct with his hand. Alright. Underground Sea. Oh, going now. Alright, it is Doomsday. Okay, so theoretically, if I knew their deck list, I could kind of sniff out some things. But just quickly looking, I don't see Black Lotus here. And that's something very important that comes to mind. So we're going to start out with a Mox Jet here. I will play my Soul Ring. So I see 1 Street Wraith, 2 Street Wraiths, 3 Street Wraiths. If my opponent is playing the full playset of them, there's 1 in their Doomsday pile. Now try to cast Chalice of the Void on 0. That stops Lotus. Okay, that has gotten a Force of Will. So now I will go ahead and cast Phyrexian Revoker. And we're going to name Black Lotus with this. And then I am going to strip mine my opponent's Underground Sea. And the hope here is that the combination of shutting off Lotus and destroying this land leaves my opponent with no way to actually get that Thassa's Oracle into play. Alright, there's a Polluted Delta. One of the cards in their pile is Ancestral, right? And if they play 4 Street Wraiths, one of them is a Street Wraith. And one of them is a Thassa's Oracle. And one of them is probably Black Lotus. That doesn't leave, doesn't leave a lot of room for other stuff. Okay, and we take down the match here. GG's. Okay, I think we're up to round 4 now. Let's see. So Workshop Jet is 4 mana on turn 1. Like, can I just make a 4/4 and then a 5/5? And like that's good enough? I guess. I'm not like thrilled with this hand, but this hand is fine. This is just like the actual factual like aggro side of Aggro Shops. Conceptually, with a lot of these like Ancient Doom, Mishra's Workshop sorts of decks, like the dream is play a lock piece, play a threat, and then play more lock pieces or threats. But this hand is just like, here's my big bigs, can you beat it? Okay, my opponent kept on a 5-card hand. They took a little while on the mulligan decision, so I don't think this was just like a I'm snap mulling to bizarre sort of situation. I think it's more of a, like, I have a legitimately difficult choice with my fair-ish deck or my like combo deck that's missing some major component, and I have to figure out what I want to do with it. We'll see if I'm right. Okay, if opponent is just starting out on an Urza's Saga, I am probably going to just decimate them with this hand. Oh. Maybe spoken touch too soon. Alright, 3 mana for a Foundry Inspector. So I'm playing a Mirror or Pseudo Mirror. So I'll play my Mana Crypt. I will Wasteland your Urza's Saga. And honestly, I think I'm just going to play another Giant Stonecoil Serpent. X equals 6. Sweeter words have never been spoken. Okay, alright, like, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but like I've got 10 power on board and my opponent has a Mana Crypt in play. Yeah. Oh god, Ancient Tomb stings there. Okay, yeah, my opponent has just conceded the game. That's fair. Alright, let's get Pithing Needles and Wormcoil Engines into the deck. On the draw, I probably don't want most of my lock pieces. I'm gonna just grab a giant pile of cards that I theoretically would like to board out. There should be a Chalice too. Okay. So I now need to keep one of those cards that I have put into the sideboard. They're all not great. Now, if I lose a game and I'm on the draw, like, I think the Chalice is good. I don't know here. Like, I'm kind of one card short of boarding where I want to be. I'll begrudgingly take the Chalice. Like, it's something that I can put on 0 and then like use it to grow my Nettlecysts. Right, I have a very strange hand here. It's a hand that wants to just wasteland my opponent on turn 1, then hope to draw big. But this is not a hand that actually does anything other than wasteland my opponent. Is that fine? I'm gonna keep this. Like, I'm very good against wasteland and strip mine and ghost quarter and all the cards of that nature. I have a body that can trade with an opposing body, and I just have all the mana in the world. So like the Urza Sagas, the X cards are going the Wormcoil engines, like all that stuff's just castable with this hand. It may be that this is just too much fluff, but in a pseudo mirror or mirror where I'm expecting like Wasteland to be at the forefront of the game, I think I can sometimes keep a mana heavy hand. I don't know. My opponent could also just go like turn one Urza Saga. I waste it, turn two Urza Saga, and then I'll just go, well, okay, shit. We shall see. All right, workshop into Stonecoil Serpent. Sure. Okay, second Foundry Inspector is cool. I am just going to begin by wastelanding my opponent, despite the fact that I am behind on board. And because of things like Chalice and Thorn, I will go ahead and play this out. And then we've got plans for the next few turns after that. Oh, my opponent just straight up conceded after I destroyed their workshop there. That's fair. GG's. What were my next couple draws going to look like? Oh god. Okay. Yeah, I would have won that game. I would have won it like Foundry Inspector into Wormcoil. Yep, okay. Alright, I'm about to join up for my last round, but I just wanted to say I just realized that we won the last 3 matches 2-0. That was not something that I just realized in the moment, but the matches that we're winning are not close. Alright, got the die roll. Yeah. This'll do. Okay, Serum Powder means that we are playing against one of the bizarre decks. It looks like we are playing against the Squee deck that we played against earlier, the Hollow Vine deck. I probably want to start on Thorn. And Thorn and Chalice. I can also cast a Stonecoil Serpent on 1 if I want, but I don't think that's going to well. Actually, is the Chalice on 0 actually good? Chalice on 0 might not actually be good. Chalice on 1 can keep some things like Basking Root Wallas out of play. The thing about playing Chalice on 0 is that it increases my artifact count for Tolarian Academy. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, then we'll just go ahead and drop the Thorn into play. And then I'll just intend on, like, rocking a couple of large creatures to victory. Like, I can get a 5/5 Stonecoil Serpent next turn. Or Foundry Inspector plus some extra credit. Yeah, like Foundry Inspector plus 4/4 is pretty sick. Okay, so there's a Vengevine and 2 things that are going to come back. This is better than just deploying threats here. So let's take out the Bazaar, and then play the thing that will discount my future spells. Nope. You do not get to say no. Alright, so these 2 creatures are going to bounce back to my opponent's hand. Fine. Alright, and my opponent goes for a Wasteland. That's not actually going to be particularly potent here. Oh, this is cool. Alright, Tolarian Academy. Tap. Play Foundry Inspector, which costs 2 mana. Now I have 2 different cost reductions, meaning Chief of the Foundry costs 1. And I will just go ahead and crash in. And then next turn... Oh, did I just miss lethal by not playing Stonecoil Serpent, by the way? Just quick check. So 4, 8, 9, 10. I played it for X equals 2. So that's 11, 12, 13. No, I did not miss lethal by just not playing that. Yes, okay, cool. Alright, so we'll board in the old pile o' hate. What did I board out before? Revokers aren't particularly potent. Those can go. Chalice can go. Then I think some of the, like, Arcbound Ravager, Walking Ballista, Foundry Inspector sorts of cards are kind of medium. And again, I could also see just boarding in Wormcoil Engine, just to have something that is just, like, bigger and 100% trumps hollow ones. Are my spheres, are spheres even good on the draw? Unclear. Like, they're very good against Force of Vigor. Maybe that specifically is enough to leave it in. Kind of inclined to just do something kind of like this. But again, I'm not an expert with this deck. Kind of going with the gut here. This hand does nothing. This one's an easy mulligan. It looks like my opponent is serum powdering away their first hand. Excuse me. This is a Leyline hand with multiple Wastelands. and a Rav Trap to boot. Yeah, I am A-okay with this. The real question here is, like, what do I throw back? I think I'm just going to throw back the threat. Like, the threat is redundant. Or, sorry, the threat is not redundant. The threat is not winning me the game immediately. Like, I am looking to use Leyline, and then if Leyline gets Force of Vigor, I'm looking to use Ravenous Trap to just, like, put a ton of pressure on my opponent. Oh, Pithing Needle is sick. It's weird, though. I don't know that I want to play this out this turn because of Force of Vigor specifically. Like, I kind of just want a Wasteland pass here. Yeah, Wasteland the Wasteland, that's fine. I'm just looking to play around the Bazaar to the best of my ability. Alright. The Chief. Do I just shut off Wasteland? Seems kind of wrong. But I think... this is so weird. I'm going to name the Bazaar. And then I am just going to try to overload my opponent here. So the hope with this is that Wasteland trades with this. If my opponent has Force of Vigor, it trades with these, and then I, like, strip mine a... whatchamacallit? A Bazaar that appears. Good God. Well, I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna hold my strip mine. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to play it out and just trade. That way if I top deck like something relevant, like a relevant land, it doesn't get destroyed. Yeah. Alright, let's do that. That does not seem like a good play. Yeah. Do you have something else that makes that make sense? Alright, Force of Vigor on those two cards, sure. Alright. The Bazaar occurs. I have a Rav Trap, which helps a little bit. Alright, that's just a Master of Death and a Vengevine. That's okay. I'm not gonna blow the Rav Trap here. Although I really need a little bit more here. I need some mana to deploy these cards. If I deploy these cards, the hollow one that's in play currently is not, like, terrifying. It's just very good. Alright, I will take 4 here. And continue to hold the Rav Trap, I think. Cool. That's pretty savage. I think that effectively kills me. My opponent's hand was, in my opinion, kind of bad, but it oddly countered the hand that I kept. Okay, now I will Rav Trap that all away. I'm fine with showing my opponent the Rav Trap as well. Because, like, I can just top deck a Mishra's Workshop and, like, get back into this game. Ancient Tomb is close to what I'm looking for. Alright. Bazaar continues to do bizarre stuff. Alright, there's a Blazing Root Walla. No big deal. The Wasteland is crippling, though. Damn. Alright. I go to 8. Take 5 next turn. I think this is the point where I can go ahead and throw in the towel. Too much onboard damage. Okay, I'm on the play now. I think I'm going to keep boarded the... I think I'm going to keep my current board plan. Yes, I would like to play first. So this is turn 1. Make either a 3/3 Stonecoil Serpent or a 1/1 Nettlecyst. And then follow up with turn 2, like, Ravager and Waste or Strip Mine. I have Grafdigger's Cage. This is probably good enough to not mulligan. Sphinx of Foresight enters. So you can reveal this from your opening hand. If you do, scry 3. Sure. Alright. So the other way I can play this is just by going, like, Cage and Ravager on turn 1. That might be better. That might play around, or Cage and Stonecoil Serpent, even. No, Cage and Ravager. I like that. Let's do that. This is a little worse against Force of Vigor. And, like, it pushes damage less quickly, but it shuts off one broken thing that my opponent can do. Alright, a Once Upon a Time. I don't know if that's the optimal time to cast that. Don't you want to, like, go to your turn and do the scry 3? And then cast the Once Upon a Time? I don't know. It depends on whether or not you're looking for generic stuff or something very specific. I guess they could also have Force of Vigor in hand, and they're trying to use the information here to determine if they Force of Vigor my 2 cards. Okay, they are going to Force of Vigor. That's fine. My opponent put a Vengevine into their hand. If they get, like, turn 1 Vengevine, I am in trouble. I can make some pretty large creatures. Alright, that was just bottom. Okay, that's pretty bad for me. I don't think I win this game with 1/1s. Play Wasteland and pass the turn. Okay, Urza Saga is super cool here. I will play that out. And now that I have something that cares about my artifact count, I'm going to go ahead and cast a Stonecoil Serpent for 2. Alright, we're getting forced. That's fine. The Stonecoil Serpent was literally just being played out to, like, pump Urza Saga. That was it. That was the plan. Yeah. Yeah, the plan is just make a construct, followed by make a construct in all likelihood. And I have a second Grafdigger's Cage that I can get off the Urza Saga. My opponent was waiting to pay costs on something. Figure out what was going on with that. Alright, construct acquired. Construct acquired. Alright. So I can Grafdigger's Cage, I can Pithing Needle on Bazaar, I can get Soul Ring. They're all totally fine options. I think I'm going to Pithing Needle Bazaar. Bazaar of Baghdad. Alright. Play Wasteland. Do I want to play this for 1 and push 1 more point of damage this turn? I think not. Alright, my opponent will go to 16 here. Noxious Revival, Force of Vigor. Okay, I mean, that is a little obnoxious, but I got so much value out of this Urza Saga. I think it's okay. Wow, it's so interesting when I use this card. Slash how I use this card. I think I want to cast a Stonecoil Serpent for X is 1. And then cast the Sphere. My opponent probably takes out Pithing Needle and 1 construct. Yeah. Cast for X is 1. Cast Sphere of Resistance. And then the Force of Vigor has to happen right now before this is in play, unless my opponent's willing to wait in another turn cycle. But they take 10 if they wait another turn cycle, which I do not believe is reasonable. Okay, they are just going for the constructs. Now this leaves me with a Bazaar in play, a Sphere. Yeah, this is disgusting for me. So my Nettlecyst is very hard to cast right now, but so are literally every single card in my opponent's deck. Alright, Mox costs 2. That's fine. Crash in. I'm now 1 mana away from being able to cast Nettlecyst and, like, end the game quickly. Nettlecyst is getting, like, is a 6/6 currently. Okay, so this costs 5. Oh, right, it costs the same as Nettlecyst because these are symmetrical. Sure. Let's just crash in. I don't think I want to lose 2 of my lands to get rid of my opponent's strip mine. Yep. Okay, that's totally cool. All right, so I'm gonna play Urza Saga, and then I think I will loop the Nettlecyst into play. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I have a 7/7. I'll attack, and I'm pretty likely to just kill my opponent next turn. Yep, they didn't have a Force of Vigor this turn. That bodes poorly for them. Okay, and we end up with a 4-1 in this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Good. I don't think this list is optimized by any stretch of the imagination. Like, there's some awkwardness here. So, like, the Mishra's Workshops don't tap for mana that allows you to activate Urza Saga, which can be awkward sometimes. And the Nettlecysts, while very strong, get a little hard to cast with, like, Thorns and Spheres of Resistances and such. But the bodies are so huge that I think having access to them really helps in, like, mirrors or pseudo mirrors. Like, say you're playing against something like one of the Hate Bears decks, for example, just having the existence of, like, Nettlecyst sized things that are going to be bigger than everything in your opponent's deck is really valuable. I do think the Nettlecysts in this deck are probably worse than the Nettlecysts in the Affinity deck that I played, just because you do have a few fewer artifacts. So maybe if you want to be playing Nettlecyst, you should go up on the artifact mana a little bit. So that's something to think about. As far as the sideboard cards, I had access to. I felt like I liked everything. Yeah, I don't think I would change anything. The archive traps are basically for one deck. They're basically for Doomsday, but I think it's okay. Yep, like this was just positive. I had fun playing this league. Although the league probably flew by. This is probably gonna be like a 45-minute video once we're done editing for YouTube. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider liking the video, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage 7 days a week. All right, have a great rest of the day.